Hey, what's up there, friends? This is Dave Gambrell with Digital Marketing Mentorship with Dave Gambrell. Hope you're having an awesome day. Wanted to talk to you today about something that Kajabi, Kittredge Connection, and you'll see this is just his main page, but it's really awesome. It talks about how they're igniting ordinary outcomes into extraordinary life experiences. And he has this feature here where you can actually click on it and book a call with him. So you can get a discovery call. You can see all the other things that he offers. Let me pop back to the main page right here. You can see all the stuff they do. We're in the people business. And again, he's built this all on Kajabi, a beautiful opt-in email form. You see how he's got the ability here to capture what people are interested in. And what you may not know is Kajabi allows you to tag that on the back end, which means he now knows what this person who opted into his email list wants to know about. So if they click leadership development and he has anything about leadership development that he wants to email out, he can only send it to that particular group of people if that's what he wants to do. Here's the people he focuses on: individuals, small businesses, organizations, and here are some of the solutions: coaching, speaking opportunities, leadership development, let the job talk, talent selection, alignment, communication, all this great stuff. And you'll see there's all kinds of ways to get in touch with Bob and Nancy. Here are the people that they've helped, the companies that they've helped, and the affiliations that they're a part of. But instead of having me just talk about it, I thought it would be pretty awesome to bring in Bob Kittredge this morning so he can give you his experience on what it's been like to move from a lot of the tech solutions he's had to try to get it all under one roof on Kajabi. So Bob, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Dave?
Doing great. So I love what you're doing with Kajabi, but why don't you help people understand kind of where you came from with your technology and what you maybe were using and what was working well, maybe wasn't working well, and then what you found as you made your transition over here to Kajabi.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm pretty much a do-it-myself guy to start with. I at least need to understand things. And so I had a WordPress site hosted through Bluehost. I followed all the, how to build a website. And then last year we went through a rebranding where we worked with an organization, new logos, new message, new colors. And somewhere in that whole process, that WordPress site got broke. And I spent probably, and because I'm pinging you with questions and you're like, Bob, you should look at Kajabi. I'm like, yeah, I can do this over here. I can do this over here. And finally, I guess it was January, I threw my hands up and said, okay, I got it. And I'll tell you, what you're seeing was probably a good week and a half head down developing at least the website portion. So you can go to other landing pages. There's pieces that I've got. I'm still building out on it. But I had my website up, running, contact me, schedule calls, at least information where people can download some samples of our assessment, all of that in about a week, where I had spent way too much time on the other side. So,
well, wait, let's stop for a second there, if I could. A week. So I don't know if people know this, but Kajabi actually offers a 28-day free trial. And I'll make sure wherever you're watching this, the link will be in the description of the comments. You'll be able to get access to it. So let's say you had 4 weeks to get stuff done. You got all of that built that I just showed people in 1 week, right?
I did. And the nice part about it was I was doing that while I still had my other website up, so I didn't have to take anything down. The other one wasn't as functional, but it was still up and at least presence. So it was a very easy to kind of start to look at both sides and how to improve it. And yeah, and that's what I did. I did the trial to start with to see if I was going to like it and if it worked. And boy, fairly quickly I hit the button to actually jump all in and on board.
Awesome. And we were having a conversation last night, and you were talking about how you're also getting ready to give up on the current email service provider you have to move it all over to Kajabi, because a lot of people don't know that Kajabi also has fully integrated email marketing as well. So you'll be giving up your email service by the end of the month? That's what you're targeting?
That's my goal. My goal. My goal is to have everything on one platform. That's so courses, website, emails, all of that through one platform. Right now I've got an email service provider. I'm trying to link back and forth, and I'm trying to maximize my time. And what I love about the piece that I'm still learning is the automation piece of tag, put into a list, send an email sequence, make them an offer. All of that's inside of Kajabi, I'm finding, and it's exactly what I've been looking for.
That's awesome. And I'm glad that you said that you're discovering automations, because that is where you start making money in your sleep. And that's where, for me, as a digital marketer and entrepreneur, I don't want to trade hours for dollars. I want to figure out how I can add value to people around the clock. And so one of the things you could do, and you could do all this with Kajabi, you can build membership groups, you can build courses, you can build all this digital content in here that people can purchase essentially while you're sleeping, because when you have these automations put in place, they could be going out to people all around the world, or maybe they're going out to people right in your backyard, but they have insomnia. So they're up at 2:00 in the morning while you're sound asleep. And they're like, I really like that thing Bob and Nancy are offering. I really like that thing Dave's offering. I'm going to go buy it. And they buy it. And through all the automations in the background that is built into Kajabi, they get access to the course. You send them an email welcoming them aboard. It'll have their name in the email if you want. There's so many cool things you can do with it. And once you get that set up, it's a pretty cool feeling. So is there anything you wish you knew before you jumped in to Kajabi, or was there anything that I could have told you? Because we did have some conversations about for years, because I've been a Kajabi customer, a founding customer. So that's like 3.5, 4 years since they've been out. And I probably have been telling you on and off for a better part of 2 years, like, hey, you should probably give this a look. Hey, you should probably check it out. And I don't think I was pushing too hard, but I just kept saying, like, you might want to give it a look. And I get that you probably have it, and this is what many people have, so that's why I'd love you to speak to it. A lot of us have this idea of sunk cost fallacy. You might not be able to articulate that's what it is, but a lot of people are like, well, I already have this thing, and I already have this thing, and I already have this thing, so I'm going to stick with it, even though it's not serving me, even though it's not working the way I want, even though it sucks and it's taking a lot of my time. I'm just going to stick with this stuff. And I'm not saying that's exactly what you did, but there are pieces of that in all of us. I've invested in some things myself that way. So can you talk about maybe something I could have told you differently, or maybe what your epiphany was in terms of, okay, it's time to make this jump and go do this?
Well, interesting, because I remember when you did introduce it right in the beginning, and I looked at it, and for the most part, I'm a pretty much an early adopter. But as you said, I already had this, I already had that, and I just need this piece and that. I mean, I went through all kinds of that conversation. And yes, you were very informative about here's what it's doing, and here's what they're going to come out with, and I said, okay, that's awesome, great. Well, I'm just going to stick with where I'm at. And finally, it got to the point of frustration when I realized how many hours I had worked on this broke site, and I could not get anybody to help me. And that was the point. I said, okay, Dave, what do I do? I'm open to my ears now, and I'm following you. So if I could have done anything different, was to listen earlier and make the decision earlier. That's what I could have done.
Right. Well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. We all sit on those ideas and we obsess over them or whatever. But I heard two kind of important things in what you said there. One was the cost of your time and the time of you doing all this stuff, where you could have been off doing other things. You could have been off building your business. You could have been spending time with your beautiful wife, Nancy, your grandkids or whatever. But you're spending all this time with your old processes and systems that you were using, and it gets frustrating. So I know a lot of people will say, like, well, I don't know if I can invest in these tools because they cost this or they cost that. And they look at it from the cost perspective instead of the investment perspective, in terms of how much time it'll actually save you in the long run, how much time, yes, there's a little bit of a ramp up time, but once you get past that, the way it's all set up for you, I think it makes it a lot smoother, and you'll spend less time and less frustration, less headaches on that stuff, because Kajabi's already thought about most of this stuff for you, and they've made it as simple as possible. And I know that their help community is really good. Their Facebook community is strong. I know you've posted some things in there, and people rally around pretty quickly, including people from Kajabi, like actual employees of Kajabi jump in on that conversation as well. So yeah, I just wanted to speak to that a little bit in terms of, I know people are in a spot where they're like, I don't know if it's worth it, or I don't know if I should do it, or I don't know if I can afford it. And I want to say to people, I don't know if you can afford not to, because they make it so easy. And on the other so let's be balanced here in our conversation, because I know you've had a little bit of this too. The one thing about Kajabi, they make it super easy. It's super powerful, but let's be honest, you can't do some of the customizations as easily, perhaps, as you would have liked in the other things. So I know you were talking to me about the email templates and some of the things they have in there, and you can't always customize it the way you want. Sometimes they have, you can put it on the left, you can put it on the right, or you can put it in the middle, but you can't kind of split the difference, stuff like that. And I know that that was frustrating you a little bit, but I think for a lot of people to understand that, I have used this analogy. I can't come up with a better one, but maybe you can. Kajabi is kind of like bumper bowling for digital marketing. And what I mean by that is if you've ever been bowling with little kids, they put those bumpers up so the ball can't go in the gutter. And if you can roll the ball with any kind of momentum whatsoever, it's going to go all the way down there, and it's going to knock down some pins. It might not knock down all of them, but it's going to get down there. And it might take a zigzag path to get there, but it won't go in the gutter, and it's going to knock down some pins. And I think with Kajabi, that's what they've done, is they've made it so you can't go in the gutter. You can't really break it. It's hard to mess things up. But if you just go in there and get the content and follow their onboarding and their training and their modules and stuff, I think your chance of success is much greater than if you try to go off and piece things together by yourself.
Well, and it was interesting. Yesterday, I was invited to this, digital marketing. Of course, it was offered by a local digital marketing firm to sell you their package, but it was really informative. They very much added value. They gave some great, and one thing it confirmed for me is I'm now on the right track. Everything that they had said, I'm now able to do inside of Kajabi. And the nice piece for me, what I want is, if I decide I want to, do a course or do a Facebook Live and put it up real quick, I can do it myself. I don't have to, reach out and catch. And I'm about ready, probably today or tomorrow, to launch my first webinar with, and I've been working on that. And again, time frame about a week, to start to understand pipelines and email sequences and what to offer and that kind of thing. But I realize now I could not have done that on what I had before. So that's kind of cool. I'm excited to punch the button here today or tomorrow and get it off.
That's awesome. And that brings up two other things I want to talk about, and then I want to be respectful of your time this morning. So one is webinars. So you can actually run webinars through Kajabi. It's not a webinar platform like most people would think of in terms of, if you've used GoToMeeting or WebEx or something like that. Really what you could do is pipe video, whether you want to do it live or recorded, through there. And again, getting back to this automation and making money in your sleep type thing, you can actually set up what's known as an Evergreen Webinar. So it's just sharing some information that you want to provide to an audience. And if they like that information and decide it's for them, they could just click the buy button and they buy it, which is really, really cool. So those of you that have not thought about webinars or auto webinars, that is a really wonderful tool. And again, this is all in the Kajabi ecosystem, which is great. The other thing you've mentioned there, though, is pipelines, which I've talked a little bit about. It's really like a cool template system, but it's a little more than a template, because what it does is it builds out the pages for you, right? It builds out the landing page. It builds out the registration page. It builds out the emails that you need to send, right? You just need to edit the email. So talk real quick about your experience with the pipelines.
Boy, that's been a saver to really, the registration page, the thank you page, the sales page, the confirmation page, and then in between, the email that goes out. And what's nice about it is the template that's in there is already formatted in the right language. I just needed to put in my details, right? My little stuff, my story, my thing of what I'm doing. And again, back to time, I had no idea how to do those sequencing and when to send this. And they've already sequenced it out first day and 2 days later and, a day before this. And then you can customize it. I put an extra one in there to do. And so it's not only available already, almost ready to go in a can, but it's also customizable. I can put my little details in I need to do. It's been phenomenal.
Cool. Thanks for pointing that out too, because one of the things I do, and any of you that have studied marketing or psychology, or maybe like Robert Cialdini's Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, you'll see that even in their templates that they provide to Bob's point, they give you the story that you should tell, right? It's generic, but it says like in this email, you should probably be talking about social proof or testimonials or whatever. In this email, you should probably have a strong call to action. In this email, you should probably do this. And as I was looking through it, being a student of that stuff, I was like, you would pay a copywriter or a consultant a heck of a lot of money just to give you that framework.
Yep.
And it's all in their platform. So
it's all in the platform.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's been great, Dave. I mean, it's just, again, what I told you the other day, thank you. I should have listened to you a couple of years ago. But hey, we can't go backwards. We can only go forwards. And I'm glad I've jumped on board now.
That's awesome. I appreciate your feedback, Bob. Is there anything else you want to share with the folks before we head out today?
No, I think here's, I guess for me, if you're just getting started, right? And I know that some of you are just getting started. This is a great platform to just get started. It is a great platform to put together a simple thing and then also start as you do masterminds and those kind of different course offerings to be able to run that all through a membership site. I mean, and everything is just, it's hard for me not to go back and kick myself, but I can't. It's great now to be able to say, okay, and actually exciting to go, oh, wait, I can do this. Oh, wait, I can, wait, oh, it's got, oh, and so it's going to be fun over the next month or so, couple months to get some of this stuff laid out that I've been talking about for 2 years.
Well, and thank you for that. Thank you for your authenticity, your transparency. I know a lot of people are kind of in that decision space where you were. And when I asked you if you wanted to do this, I said, look, I think we can add a tremendous amount of value to people who are going through this thought wrestling, if you will, in their brain of like, what do I do? How do I start? Should I do this? I think a lot of people have got a lot of value from our conversation this morning and the tips and the stuff that you shared because you were so authentic, you were so transparent, and people are wrestling with that. And hopefully this helps them get started and take the next step. So Bob, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate everything you and Nancy do for us and all the value you add to the world. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, you know how to reach me. And if anybody wants to find you, is there a way that people could get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to find you?
Of course, best way is my new Kajabi site, www.kittredgeconnection.com, or you can send me an email, bob@kittredgeconnection.com, or my phone number is right there on the website. You can also just give me a call.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Bob. Have an awesome day.
Take care.
All right. See ya.